over until those kids are out of the home. It belongs to them and they still don't go away. Then you get grandkids and great-grandkids, you know. You never get rid of them. My mom can testify to that. When you go to heaven, you will be the total, complete you He always meant for you to be. You get to be your whole person. Every gift He gave you will operate in heaven. Everything you desire to do, you'll get to do it in heaven if you don't do it down here. You are really you, His child, His son, His daughter. You remember the husband and the wife, and you know those are your kids, and they know you were their mom, and you actually have a special, I don't want to say a real affection, but you have a special affection for people and you still live together, not in the same house, but you all live in the same area. You do things together all over heaven. He does not separate you from your loved ones. But you're His son, and you're His daughter, and we came from God. And we actually, tonight I'm going to talk a lot more about this, we actually knew each other before we came here. You did. You didn't look like that. You didn't have a physical appearance. We were all little spirits. You were not a spirit being. You were not a created being. You were a spirit. You were God's offspring. And He wants you to come home. And so when you go home, He's made the most perfect, amazing place, whether it's in a tree, on the side of a cliff, underwater, up in the sky. Everybody loves different things. You wouldn't want to have something that belonged to somebody else. And so He's made all these mansions exactly what you want. Not just the mansion, everything in it, and your property. So that it will absolutely delight you. You can't take anything with you because you'd throw it away. If there were special things that meant something to you on this, a photograph or a special little thing, He's already made a copy. It's in your mansion. If people have lost things in the fire, don't worry about it. If you belong to Him, you'll have them up there. He knows what you love. He gives us things because He loves us. You don't qualify to get them. You don't work to get them. He gives them to you because He loves you. And that's why your pets go to heaven. And I have to talk about it because He literally took me and made sure I saw pets I had when I was a little girl. And when you got that many kids, we had a lot of them. People have heard me tell the story of Charlie that lived in our bathtub. That's an alligator. My brother RJ's alligator. I think he should be in his mansion bathtub. The only thing is you don't have to take baths in heaven. But we had every kind of animal and unusual thing you can imagine. And my dad has them all on his ranch, waiting for us to get there. And as we come home, they'll be all, here's your part. Go take them. Take them home with you. They usually wait at your mansion, but they all like to hang out with my dad and be with all the rest of the hundreds and thousands of pets there. I tell people I think He runs Heaven Zoo. But you get them because you love them. He gave them to you as companions. In the Garden of Eden, they were Adam's companions before Eve came along. They did not work or labor, so no, He didn't give them to do work. He gave them to them to be companions. And some people, that's all they have. You should never love any animal more than a person because, we all are the children of God. But it's okay if you love your pet. And if they die, just tell them you'll see them later. And hope they don't take over your mansion. If you got a cat, forget it. It's already over. Because, I had cats when I was growing up, and they take over the whole house, and they think you're coming to see them. Dogs are happy no matter what, but the cats, it's their place. And I've heard stories of people moving, taking their cats halfway across the country. They went back to the house where they lived, leaving the people to go back to their territory. And it happened because we got a house one time, and there was this beautiful black cat. And come to find out, 6 months later, the owners who had the house before couldn't find their cat. And when they described it, I went, "We got your cat." They came and took it. They took it back with them. A few months later, it was back. They lived on the other side of the city. It was back at the house again. I went, forget it. Don't bother to come get it. Come and visit it. When we moved, the cat stayed. They're very territorial. So if they're in your mansion up there, forget it when you get there, you know. It may have their name on it instead. And in my second book, I got to tell you the story of Chester the goldfish. We're still talking about heaven, by the way. Do y'all like this? Someone's going to have to raise their hand up and say, it's time to stop and go. Because I'll just go right into the next meeting. Remember, I don't have to eat. I already had my 4 hours sleep, so I'm good to 4:30 a.m. How about y'all? He said, I'm going to give you a story to put in your book that's going to show people this is how much I love them. It's a goldfish. A goldfish. A little goldfish. And he's in this boy's mansion that's being built in heaven. He didn't just sit in a fishbowl. He made a waterway aquarium that goes through all the walls, up over the doorways, through every room in this mansion. And every now and then there's a bowl that comes out of the waterway thing, and the fish can go and prop himself up on his fins to visit with his master, Bradford. Bradford's about 10. When he was 5, he had this goldfish, and he died. And this young boy took dance at the studio where my daughters were. And I didn't know anything about Chester. That was his goldfish. And his mom and him started talking about this goldfish. I heard them talking, you know, I still miss Chester, you know. This was about 2 years after he died. He must have really loved that fish. And all of a sudden, God took me to heaven while they were talking. Showed me this boy's mansion. It's still not finished, but the back part's all done. And walked me through this mansion, and I was overwhelmed. This little goldfish is a dark orange spot by his back left fin. I even knew what he looks like. He's a little bit bigger than he was on Earth, but he made this waterway aquarium and went over every doorway into every room that was finished. And in the back room is a pool, a swimming pool, and there's a waterfall slide that goes down into the pool. And I watched the fish swim, swim, swim. Then he went down the waterfall, right into the pool, was swimming all over in the pool. And the Lord said, tell Bradford, not only will he have Chester when he gets to heaven, but he'll be able to swim with him. Isn't that precious? So I came back and started sharing what I heard, and they start screaming and yelling. Screaming and yelling because they hadn't told me this part. That very day, they had been, he gets homeschooled. During his homeschooling, he turned to his sister and said, you know what? It would be great when I got to heaven if I could swim with my fish. If God cares about a goldfish, he cares about any kind of pet you had. And he cared. And he wanted people to know, I care about even your goldfish. So if you got a bird, a hamster, an alligator, you know, whatever it is, an iguana, we had them all, a pig, we had that too. We used to dress him and rock him to sleep. Whatever it was you had, God has made a way for it to be in heaven with you when you get there. And so if he cares about Chester, I love to talk about Chester. And, and by his little bowl, there's a picture of Bradford. A picture of his little master right there next to his goldfish bowl. And we illustrated it, and it's in the second book. You see Chester in Bradford's mansion. So God cares about your pets. I've had people get saved. They went, if my pets are there, I'm definitely going to go there. I want Jesus. If he cares about my horses that I love more than anything else, if he cares about them, he really loves me that much, I have to know him. So even the pets in heaven are getting their master saved. I love it. He'll use almost anything to get you there, even your pets. So I'm trying to think, could you put the transport up there real quick? Isn't that beautiful, that rainbow that comes from the very being of the Father? See, it's not that the glory's on him, it's coming from the inside of him. And you're going to hear about that tonight. I know some of you may have heard about this. How many people have heard about the stones of fire? Let me see your hand. Oh, good, not many. The stones of fire that Lucifer walked upon, We're inside God.